Today I'm going to share with you a classic and heartwarming Korean drama from the year 2000 called Autumn in My Heart. I remember watching it as a kid and it moved me to tears. Let's dive into the story together. When Jun-hee was a toddler, he went to see his newborn baby sister in the hospital. He accidentally mixed up the name tags of his sister and the baby girl in the next bed. The nurse didn't notice the switch when she found the tags on the floor. And so, the two baby girls got switched by mistake. Fast forward about 10 years, and Jun-hee has grown into a smart, handsome young guy who gets lots of love letters every day. His sister Eun-hee has become the most popular girl in their class. This makes another girl in their class, Shinhye, very jealous. Eun-hee and Shinhye compete for the class leader role. In the end, Eun-hee gets the most votes from her classmates and becomes the class leader. Jealous Shinhye steals Eun-hee's skirt and hangs it up in a tree. Eun-hee climbs the tree to get her skirt back, and a crowd of students gather to watch. When Jun-hee sees this, he gets angry and wants to find out who did this to his sister. The students tell him that it must be Shinhye. Jun-hee spots Shinhye across the street. He hops on his bike, wanting to confront Shinhye about why she's mean to his sister. Eun-hee chases after him to stop him but gets hit by a truck. Jun-hee turns around and sees his sister lying on the ground. At the hospital, Eun-hee's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Yoon, find out that Eun-hee needs a blood transfusion. But the doctors find out that their blood types are O, while Eun-hee's is B. Since parents with type O blood can't have a child with type B blood, they realize something is wrong. After some investigation, they find out that the daughter they've raised for 14 years, Eun-hee, is not their biological daughter. Their real daughter was switched at birth and is living with a poorer family. Mr. and Mrs. Yoon visit Mrs. Choi, the woman who's been raising their biological daughter. Seeing the small restaurant and its dirty surroundings where their biological daughter lives, Mr. Yoon feels sad for his real daughter. Mr. Yoon tells Mrs. Choi that their daughters were switched at birth. Mrs. Choi is shocked, but both families decide to keep the truth a secret because they can't bear to lose the daughters they've raised. Jun-hee overhears their conversation. Later, Mrs. Yoon goes to Eun-hee's hospital room, hugs her, and promises to protect her and make her happy. At school, there's an art exhibition. Eun-hee's mom and dad are very impressed with one of the paintings. Eun-hee says, "That's Shinhye's work." Her mom smiles and says, "Well, we must meet this talented girl." Just as she says this, she spots Mrs. Choi. Shinhye doesn't like her poor mom coming to her school. She feels embarrassed and wants her mom to leave. Eun-hee's parents realize that Shinhye is their biological daughter. Mrs. Choi also recognizes Eun-hee as her biological daughter. Mr. Yoon can't resist visiting Shinhye, his real daughter. He sees her admiring a doll and buys it for her, but doesn't tell her he is her father. Shinhye happily takes the doll and goes home. Mrs. Choi sees this from afar. Shinhye, looking at the doll, envies Eun-hee for having a good dad and wishes she had a dad like him. Suddenly, Choi storms in, scolds her for accepting a stranger's gift. Shinhye complains about her poor life and Mrs. Choi accidentally lets slip that Shinhye isn't her biological daughter. On the other hand, Mrs. Yoon is happy with her current life and asks her husband not to ruin their happiness. The family happily comes home to find Shinhye waiting at the door, wanting to return to her real parents. Eun-hee finds it hard to accept that her beloved parents aren't her real parents. But with Jun-hee's encouragement, she decides to face reality. The next morning, Shinhye admires Eun-hee's pretty clothes. Mrs. Yoon, still seeing Eun-hee as her own, tells Shinhye not to touch Eun-hee's stuff. During breakfast, Shinhye looks at the matching cups for the four of them, then at her own odd one, and she becomes even more jealous of Eun-hee. After Shinhye arrives at school, she immediately tells her classmates about her new life. When Eun-hee walks in, everyone either takes joy in her misfortune or looks at her with sympathy. The strong Eun-hee comforts her best friend, saying she's fine and not to worry about her. When school ends, Shinhye asks Eun-hee if she's scared now that she suddenly has a poor mother and an older brother with debt. Shinhye asks where Eun-hee is going, and Eun-hee replies she's going home. But Shinhye takes Eun-hee to Mrs. Choi's house and tells her this is her real home. Seeing her daughter from the back, Mrs. Choi calls out Shinhye's name. Jun-hee, hearing that Shinhye took Eun-hee away, rushes over, slaps Shinhye, and takes Eun-hee back. Crying, Shinhye runs home and tells her mom and dad that her brother hit her because of Eun-hee. She asks her mom why she doesn't like her as much as she likes Eun-hee. She tells them about the hard time she's had, helping Mrs. Choi clean the restaurant after school every day. Her mom, hearing how much her daughter has suffered, feels very sorry for Shinhye and cries while hugging her. Her dad asks Jun-hee why he hit Shinhye, his sister. Jun-hee replies that Shinhye is not his sister. His only sister is Eunhee. Angered by this, her dad slaps Junhee. Eunhee doesn't want her mom to be distressed, and she doesn't want Junhee to argue with her dad because of her. So that night, she grabs her cup, leaves the house she has lived in for 14 years, and comes to the home that was originally hers. Here, she can only wear old, ugly clothes. Facing her strange brother and mother, and food she's never eaten before, she doesn't run away. Despite everything being so unfamiliar, she faces this life with a smile. Junhee's family is soon going to leave for the United States. Mrs. Yoon can't bear to leave Eunhee, so she asks Mrs. Choi to return Eunhee to her so she can look after her 2 daughters. Knowing her request is selfish, she apologizes to Mrs. Choi and offers an envelope of money. This makes Mrs. Choi feel like she's trying to buy her daughter, so she angrily throws the envelope back at her and refuses. Back at the restaurant, Mrs. Choi sees Eunhee being bothered by a customer, which upsets her. She realizes that if Eunhee stays with her in this poor restaurant, Eunhee will only suffer. So she brings Eunhee to the place where Mrs. Yoon had just left. Eunhee sees her old mom and can't help but run to her. Mrs. Choi tells Mrs. Yoon that Eunhee never called her mom after coming back. In Eunhee's heart, her real mom is Mrs. Yoon. Mrs. Choi jokingly says, "Having a daughter is such a hassle, you can take her back." Then she walks away, but Eunhee cries to her old mom, "I'm not your daughter anymore. You have Shanae and Junhee. Don't worry, I'll be fine." Then she runs to Mrs. Choi and hugs her from the back, calling her Mom. Today is both Eunhee and Shanae's birthday. Eunhee smells the flowers at the door and wishes herself a happy birthday. On the other hand, Junhee's family is celebrating Shanae's birthday. When her brother mentions it's also Eunhee's birthday, Shanae gets annoyed and runs back to her room. Her brother comes in, wishes her a happy birthday, and gives her a present. Then, in Shanae's room, Junhee finds a watch and asks her, "If you're not wearing this watch, can I have it?" Shanae is very puzzled. Junhee explains that this is the birthday gift he gave to Eunhee last year. Eunhee forgot to take it. Because Eunhee likes this watch, he wants to give it back to her. Hearing this, Shanae smiles and says she can help him deliver it to Eunhee. Shanae places the watch in Eunhee's drawer. When Eunhee sees the watch in the drawer, she thinks Junhee brought the watch to her, so she happily puts the watch into her backpack. After class, Shanae lies on the desk, crying that her watch is lost. The teacher comes in and asks everyone to put their backpacks on the table for her to check. The result is that the watch is found in Eunhee's backpack. Shanae purposefully frames Eunhee to embarrass her. Although Junhee knows that Eunhee is framed, he has no evidence. He can only watch Eunhee being punished with a heavy heart. After school, he takes Eunhee to the beach to play, hoping to cheer her up. Junhee asks Eunhee what she wants to be in her next life. Eunhee says she wants to be a tree because once a tree is planted, it never moves. One day, the teacher announces that Shanae's family is flying to the United States. Upon hearing this, Eunhee immediately runs out of school and toward her old home. She sees her old mom, dad, and brother driving away, but no matter how hard she tries, she can't catch up to them. 8 years zoom by, and Eunhee is all grown up now. She works as a telephone operator at a hotel. We'll tell the story of what happens after these 8 years in the next video. If you like my videos, subscribe to my channel and I'll see you next time.